All right, today we're going to crack the code on code itself. We're going to learn the basic language that pretty much every piece of software uses to think and make decisions. So let's just dive right in.
Have you ever stopped to think about that? How does your banking app know your PIN is right? Or how does a game know you've actually beaten the final boss? Well, the answer is logic. And it's not some kind of magic. It's just a set of really simple rules that we're going to get the hang of right now.
The best way to think about programming is like you're learning a new language. But here's the good news. This language has a super simple grammar. All we're trying to do is give a computer instructions that are so clear, so precise, that there's no way it can misunderstand them.
And what's really wild is that every single app, every amazing video game, every website you use, it's all built from just 4 simple types of operations. That's it. These 4 things do all the heavy lifting for everything.
So, these operations are done by things we call operators. Think of them as the action words, the verbs of our new language. They're the parts of the sentence that actually do stuff. So, let's meet the team. First up, we've got the most basic operator of them all, assignment. That little single equals sign. It's how we tell the computer, hey, see this number 10? I want you to put it in a box for me and just label that box X. Simple as that. You're assigning a value to a name. Okay. Next up are the operators you've known your entire life, probably since elementary school math class. These are the arithmetic operators, and they basically turn your program into a super-powered calculator, letting you add, subtract, multiply, all the usual stuff.
Now, what's cool here is that you've got your classics like plus and minus, but you also get some really neat specialized tools. Take a look at that percent sign, the modulus operator. It doesn't give you the answer to a division problem, it gives you the remainder. This is super useful for things like, say, checking if a number is even or odd.
So now we can store stuff and we can do math. But the real magic, the real power, comes from being able to ask questions. And that's where relational operators come in. They are the heart of making decisions. They just compare 2 things and always give you a simple, clean answer, either true or false.
And this is exactly how we do it. Is your score greater than 90? Is the password you just typed in equal to the one we have saved? The computer can answer these questions instantly, but look really closely at equal to. It's a double equal sign, and trust me, that difference is absolutely crucial.
Okay, so here's the deal, and this is super important. A single equal sign is a command. You're telling the computer, make x equal to 10. But a double equal sign, that's a question. You're asking the computer, hey, is the value inside x already 10? One is an order, the other is a question. Getting that right is honestly half the battle when you're starting out.
Our last set of operators are basically the connectors. They let us take our simple true-false questions and chain them together to ask much more complicated things, like, is the user over 18 and do they live in Texas?
And it's pretty straightforward. The AND operator is the strict one. Both sides of the equation have to be true for the whole thing to be true. The OR operator is way more chill. It just needs one side to be true. And then there's NOT, which is kind of the rebel. It just flips the answer from true to false or from false to true.
Okay, so we've met all the individual words, we've learned the grammar rules. Now, let's see the magic happen when we string them all together to make a complete logical sentence.
So let's walk through this. First, an arithmetic operator does the math for us. Z becomes 26. Then, 2 relational operators ask their questions. Is 26 greater than 20? Yep, that's true. Is the remainder of 26 divided by 2 equal to 0? Yep, that's also true. So finally, the logical AND operator looks at both of those true answers and gives us the final verdict. True. See? A perfect logical sentence.
So that's how it all works under the hood. But why does any of this matter? Well, let's see how this new language helps us tell these little, powerful stories to solve actual real-world problems.
So story number 1, a simple geometry problem. We need the area of a circle. We just tell Python the formula using our multiplication operator, and we assign the answer to a variable called area. That's it. One line.
And bam! The computer does the math and gives us the exact answer, all stored away and ready for us to use.
All right, story number 2, a financial calculation. This one's a little more complicated, but the idea is exactly the same. We just translate that real-world formula for simple interest straight into a line of code using our operators.
And there you have it. The computer crunches those numbers in a split second, and the answer is 500.
And for our last story, we're going to do something a little different. This isn't just about calculating. This is about making a decision. We're using a relational operator, greater than or equal to ask the computer a question. Does this score qualify for an A?
And since 75 is in fact greater than or equal to 70, the logical answer is true, and the program makes the right call. That right there is the very essence of how automated decisions are made.
So, there you go. You now understand the fundamental grammar of how a computer thinks. You can give it commands, you can ask it questions. So what can you actually build with that power?
Think of the operators we just learned as like the atoms of programming. They're the smallest, most fundamental building blocks. The very next step is learning how to combine them into molecules, or in the world of Python, libraries. These are just huge collections of pre-written code that let you stand on the shoulders of giants to build incredible things without starting from scratch every time.
You've just learned the universal grammar of logic that powers every single app on your phone and every website you visit. These simple tools are the key to everything. The only question left is, now that you speak the language, what story are you going to write?